What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Dolphins Daily, your daily dose of Dolphins content with your boy, Chris Kane. Let's talk about the Dolphins. So we're going to get to our backup quarterback situation. Now, you guys know I am not a Zach Wilson fan. I've been 10 toes down from the jump. I thought his signing was a mistake. I thought it was too much money. That's where I'm at, right? We got Quinn Ewers, who I thought was, a great pick for the time. Wasn't a big fan of him as well, but I said consistently Quinn Ewers would be the backup come training camp, come regular season, and I've been adamant about that. However, reports that come out today that say the exact opposite. They're saying the backup job is Zach Wilson's job. He can only lose the job if he basically plays like Zach Wilson. If he plays horribly, it just looks like he hasn't progressed, looks like he can't read the defense, looks like he just, doesn't have the juice, then maybe the competition is up. This is not going to be we're both competing at the same level for the backup job. Evidently, this is Zach's job, and Quinn is like the third guy. What does that mean for Quinn Ewers? Well, it seems like when the year starts, he's going to be the emergency third quarterback. A lot of clipboard holding, kind of breaking case of emergency, and that is surprising to me. I didn't think that we would take a quarterback of his stature, of his name, who played in a similar offense, and then would just kind of say, hey, you chill out on the sideline. Now, I get the idea that Zach is probably better than him right now. Of course, that he's been in the league for longer. He's played in NFL. I get that. My whole thinking is Zach Wilson's on a 1-year deal. We got Quinn for 4. If they're comparable, Quinn should start. This is saying basically it don't matter if they're comparable or not. Zach is starting, meaning starting as the backup, and he would have to just kind of poop the bed to lose a job. I don't know where this extra faith in Zach came from. I'm guessing when he got signed that he was kind of signed as you are going to be a backup, and that's why he signed with this. Allegedly, there are a lot of teams in the Zach Wilson market. I cannot believe that. I will not believe that, not for the money. But it seems like that was kind of the promise. Like, hey, you come in here, you're not going to be competing against Tua. You're the backup. Then we got a quarterback. Don't worry about him. You got it. That's what it feels like. Now, I'm opening myself up to be very wrong. If Tua gets hurt for some reason and Zach comes in and balls out, I'll have to come right here on this broadcast and let y'all know, hey, I was wrong. I've been wrong. But I don't think I will be. And I still, even with the support, I think Quinn Ewers is going to be so good, or at least close enough to Zach, that report is going to get slightly amended as we get into like OTAs, right, deeper into mini camps. I think it's going to be like, Quinn is making some really good throws. Hey, he's playing like a vet. Just look out for these reports in a couple months. Hey, he's looking like an old school vet. He's got a quarterback pocket awareness I like. A little savvy, not as like explosive as Zach is, but doesn't make as many mistakes. That's what I'm predicting. I know the support is telling me the opposite. That's what I'm telling you guys this. I'm telling you what I believe to be true. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I believe as they go further along, Zach's going to make some plays that are going to be here. You're going to see him on training camp footage of him rolling left, throwing 50 yards across his body. You're also going to show him throw 3 picks in practice. Like, I think that's on the board. I think Quinn won't make as many mistakes, but what you'll see is that the offense just moves more smoothly. He makes the right read. He gets up and down. The ball goes where it's supposed to go. And then every now and again, he'll show you, yeah, I'm athletic too. That's my belief on this. We will see. But I'm not going to say I was disappointed. It just doesn't align with how I see the team. Just tell you that. Y'all know I'm not a Zach guy. Evidently, the Dolphins are a Zach people. So there we are. Now, I saw our article today that talked about, is the key to the Dolphins' success really the defense? And that was interesting because they were framing it as, can the defense save Coach McDaniel's job? Which, okay, that's an interesting question. But it really got me thinking, is the defense really the key? Because we got Coach McDaniel to make the offense better. That's why he got the job. Offensive genius. We had Tua. It was like, hey, we're not getting the most from our quarterback. Let's get this quarterback whisperer, offensive guru type guy, make our quarterback better. And the offense immediately became great. In 2023, we had the number 1 rated offense, right? Won 11 games, got to the playoffs, got smoked. What happened late in that year, though, is that we started getting less and less yards per game and less points per game as the year went on. But we had so many points and so many yards early that we just kind of like banked it, right? But people were still saying, hey, I know they kind of got a little dicey at the end of the year. Great offense, can they outscore Kansas City? Obviously, we didn't. We lost the game. But the defense in all these close games against like these higher level teams, these cold weather, late season good teams, our defense typically kind of wets the bed. Defense and sometimes special teams. We all remember the Buffalo game, punt return for a touchdown. Just let's not talk about it, right? But what I realized, I had to go back and do some research, is that our defense was okay, but it wasn't great. And when our offense fell down, the defense couldn't keep up. And the idea is always that when you play these high level teams, the Buffaloes, the Baltimores, the Kansas Cities, sometimes the Houston, that you got to score a bunch of points to win. In 2023, the AFC Championship game was Kansas City versus Baltimore. The final score was 17-10. That was the final score. And that's not a lot of points. 17 points is not a lot of points. And can the Dolphins offense score 18 points? Yeah, even against good teams. But can our defense keep someone to 17 or under? I would say no. That year, Kansas City won the Super Bowl. They were basically carried by their defense, despite how good Patrick Mahomes is. Their defense was amazing, especially in clutch moments. They gave up plenty of points to Buffalo. They gave up points to, San Francisco in the Super Bowl, but not when it really counted. When the game was on the line, the last 3-4 possessions, they didn't give up points. They gave up field goals or they stopped them on critical third and fourth downs. So it's not always about keeping the point total down, although that helped them against Baltimore. It's about, can you make timely defensive plays? Our defense has shown we're usually pretty good in the first quarter or two. Then it gets a little, and then we can kind of get housed. We haven't shown, hey, we got to lead in the fourth quarter. Can we hold it down? They haven't been able to hold it down. And the good defenses hold it down. If you saw Philadelphia last year in the Super Bowl, we gave Jaylen and the offense all this credit because the offensive line was amazing. But just as much credit is that the defense was causing not only turnovers, they weren't giving up points. They only get that lead extended because they kept scoring and then not giving up points. And then when they gave up points, the game was already over. Those were just irrelevant, ticky-tack kind of situations. Critical defense, critical timing, timely sacks, batted balls, all those kind of things are really what determine how good a team can be. And no team has shown we can just win with offense. Not in any kind of recent memory. The closest thing we had to that was maybe New England when they went 18-0 and then lost in the Super Bowl. They were just scoring 30 points a game. But in real life, even teams that score a lot of points have to play some defense. We saw Cincinnati last year have the best offense and then not even make the playoffs. So the idea that Coach McDaniel's an offensive coach, we have Tua top 5 pick at quarterback, offense got to be great for us to win, that makes sense in terms of the A plus B equals C thing. But in practicality, our offense should be the strength of our team because that's where we have the most resources. But if your defense is not good enough, then it doesn't matter how good the offense is. We all saw Detroit last year. The offense was amazing. Amazing. How many points did they score against the Commanders? 28, 32, something? They scored a lot of points. And got housed because they could not get off the field. They couldn't stop the Commanders at any point. And Jared Goff said, hey, I have 400 yards passing, and we're still losing because we can't get off the field. We can't make a stop. Even holding teams to field goals is ginormous. So the idea is, does the defense really determine the key to the team? I think that's probably an accurate statement if you really look at it. Because our offense, when we had to, when we were really cooking, was scoring about 27 points a game. I think that will probably get you 11, 12 wins in any given season. There'll be a couple of games where you don't hit that number or you hit that number and the team just outscores you. Sure. But if you get in the playoffs and scoring typically comes down a little bit in the playoffs, 27 becomes 23, you can easily lose 24-23. That's not even a crazy offensive output. It's 12 points a half. So I do think the defense has probably not gotten enough responsibility is probably the right word for that. But I think it is the key because I don't think our offense is going to be much better than it was 2 years ago. But I think our defense can be at least more timely in their good defensiveness. Maybe not as many points per game and yards per game, whatever, but in late game moments. How many times have we had Buffalo dead to rights, we thought, and just couldn't get off the field? It's happened so many times. If we could just get off the field. When we played Buffalo in the playoffs with Skylar Thompson, we could not get off the field. We had the lead late in the game, and they just couldn't. Third down, fourth down, just continuous conversions. It's if you just stop them, you don't have to score more points. You can advance. So I think it's an interesting perspective. I do think the defense is really the key, but hopefully we can score some points too. And finally, we're going to end with some Jaylen Ramsey talk. I know I saw like a thing last night that said he had gotten traded to the Rams, and I was like, I got to do an emergency video, and then I woke up and that wasn't true. That may have been someone reporting on it. That hasn't been confirmed yet, but that may be what is going to happen. So Jaylen Ramsey went on X and decided to post the number 5. Now that is also his real life number, so we can take it for that. I don't like trying to decipher tweets and X's, and it's dumb. However, this I think has some significance because one, it's the Dolphins, and two, 5 in this case actually equates to something. He posted that like early this morning, and if you go 5 days from now, it'll be June 1st. And June 1st is when we can now trade him and actually like lower our cap number. So I think you can read into this that he's looking forward for June 1st because he knows June 1st he's going to get traded, meaning that we already have a deal in principle with someone and we're just not going to ratify it until June 1st. If that's the case, then he's like 5 days until I'm not a Dolphin anymore. I still don't like the post for that reason. Like, you count down your days until you leave. Like, this is a mutual decision for you to leave. We're granting you a request, and like, I don't get that part of it. Everything I read, there's no animus in this whole situation. So the idea to be like 5 days ago, if that's where you're coming from, I don't love that angle. But if that's his way of telling the fans, hey, this is all going to be over in 5 days, I mean, cool. We would love to talk about the topics on the show, but that's what it kind of equates to. Starting June 1st, it'll be like a $9.9 million savings to the team by cutting him or trading him after June 1st. And obviously, our cap is all over the place. So, any kind of cap relief we can get, that would be great. I believe that is what this whole thing is. I'm still not convinced that we won't have to pay some of his salary, though, right? We haven't gotten to the particulars of any deal, but all the reporting up to like a week ago was if you trade him, you will have to pay more. It seems like there's enough competition for him now that might be off the table, which will be amazing. Because the idea of getting rid of him, getting less back in compensation, and paying for the contract, what are we talking about? That's outrageous. That's what you do to like a cancer in the locker room. That's an Antonio Brown situation. If someone's just going to trade for him straight up, we'll pay the salary. Hey, we're cool with a 4th or 5th round pick. That's what I'm assuming we're going to end up. I don't see a 3rd round pick unless someone really jumps out the window. But 4th or 5th seems like everything I've read where we're kind of going to end up here. If it's a 4th or 5th round pick, we don't have to pay any contract. We get a little bit of cap relief. We still obviously take a hit this year, but then going forward, we don't have to worry about it. I think that's the best case scenario. And it seems like, according to him, June 1st is when this is most likely to go down. I think the Rams are still a leader in the clubhouse. They've already played with them before. They have a need at cornerback. They are kind of in a win now situation because of Matt Stafford. That makes the most sense. The Cowboys, I think, are kind of a long shot, but I think he just bought a house in Dallas. So I don't know if like he just wants property in Dallas or if that's like a, hey, I went and buy a house in a city and state that I'm not going to live in. There's maybe some smoke to that fire as well. I still don't think the Philadelphia or Commanders are off the table. And then, of course, Detroit, because their defense was abysmal last year. So there's a lot of suitors out there. I'm guessing we're going to find out by June 1st what really goes down. But he seems to be counting down the days, so I guess we should too. But as always, guys, thank you for tuning in to Dolphins Daily. We appreciate the love and support. Thank you all for the likes and subscribes. You guys are the reason we even have a channel. We appreciate that, and we'll see you next time on Dolphins Daily. Peace.